Hello, Reject Nation. It's Greg Alba here.
And I'm John.
So we watched Black Lightning the other day, and
Yes,
we
we
really
did.
enjoyed it, and the reviews are in, and people are loving it right now. But as we know, critics and audiences can often disagree, and that's why we love using the Stardust app. Yeah, we're on the Stardust app, and thank you guys for following us, as we
Yeah.
just passed 4,000
Appreciate it.
followers. I think we have like about 120 posts on there so far right now.
Throwing down posts.
Throwing down the posts. So we love using it, and we have a combination of people that follow us and a combination of people that we follow that we haven't seen any of the reactions for it yet. Sometimes John and I would just like to binge watch because they have this button where you can hit the movie sometimes, and they just like has
just play a
all
medley
the
of all the people,
all the
in your-
people
in
saying
your
it.
list.
Yeah. So we thought it'd be fun to do that for Black Lightning. I know John did that for Insidious.
Yeah, it was fun.
So let's check out what these people got to say,
Let's
mate.
do it. Let's rock and roll.
So I love that Black Lightning has his own version of Alfred.
I was
He's
thinking.
not like a butler, but more of like a tailor that's clearly worked for him in the past, doing suits and things like that, stitching him up literally.
Literally.
And you just see how giddy he is, and you just can tell that he has been dying with anticipation and just perfecting this suit for the last 7 years and constantly improving it. And he's just so excited. It's funny.
I think she has a two-parter.
So I have two favorite parts
Yeah,
of
she does.
the
Yeah.
Black Lightning as the superhero, his scenes. So the first one is when he gets supercharged, and I'll kind of let you figure out. Obviously, you'll figure out how it works, but the scene in which that'll make more sense. And then the other scene is right before he ends up destroying a car. That whole scene was just beautiful justice. It was great.
Well, Zoomer makes some good points there.
True
That's
that.
the only one we're going to watch.
No more.
We'll stop and talk a little
The
bit about
people.
what they're saying. I like what she said about that, because I remember when we did the reaction for it, which is on our Patreon. Our first thought was Alfred.
Yeah.
right when you see him. It's Alfred.
Yeah, it's like
Dude.
if Alfred was also the guy from Daredevil who makes the suits.
A combination of that. I
Yeah.
think the Alfred that we get now, especially in the DCEU movies, is very much like this in terms of he designs the equipment and helps out with all these things.
He's a sophisticate.
Yeah, he's like an Alfred and a Gordon combined.
Yeah, exactly. This was my first exposure to this, basically, other than
Yeah.
the trailer, and there was like a magic about their relationship too. I was like, dude, he's been waiting to do this.
Yeah.
Like, he's gung ho, and yeah, it is exciting.
It's kind of like if Alfred really wanted Bruce Wayne to not give up on being Batman.
Yeah.
If it was the antithesis to the Dark Knight Rises, you know?
Don't take care of your body and actually form meaningful relationships.
I've been psyched for this show since it was originally announced. It was really, really good. Great beginning. Learn his some of his backstory. I'm really glad the daughters are in here. And
The daughters.
even if I wasn't a friend of the Tony Isabella, the creator of this character, I would love it.
Wait, what did he mean by the end there?
Oh dang! I guess he knows the person who created the character.
Oh, so we can't trust Steve C50's
Like
opinion
Steve,
on
I've
it
seen some of his
because
stuff
he's
before.
being biased. Yeah, no, we follow him. Yeah, yeah. I loved about his reaction. I'm surprised he only gave it 4 stars because he just seems like, I really like this show. He seems like he really
seems
liked
like a
it.
practical guy. He seems like the kind of guy who, like, 4 stars is good. Like 5 stars would have to be something I would imagine.
See?
Like truly transcendent. Steve, what's your rubric, man? Break it down for us.
Akasan.
Akasan, what's up, man?
I won't lie. Black Lightning, it was pretty cool. Like for a pilot. It was pretty cool. There were some parts that were a little cringy and some of the dialogue was a little hand-fed, a little forced. But overall, the concept and the setup and the world they're building, I think, works really well. I would love to see him team up with the rest of the Arrowverse. So I definitely recommend checking it out. Yeah.
Okay, well, he actually made some good points. I don't know if anything made me cringe, but I think you said it best in the review portion of our video that's on YouTube.
Ha.
That obviously there's some pretty expositional dialogue here and there, but it's always well justified for why they're bringing it up. Especially with Gamby, like, I've known you since you were 12 years old. You're like a son to me. Remember what I said to you when you wanted to be like, just like, no.
Yeah,
It happens in like pretty much every scene with one of the characters, but it's a pilot, and you got to get all the information out of the way. You're doing a lot of world setup, and honestly, I know the shows that come from the DC TV, and I think that that's better handled than a lot of the other shows too with the exposition.
It seemed like some were more successful than others, but I always thought that the expositional the expositional stuff, they always tried to deliver it in a creative way. They never just dropped you an information load.
It never lost its emotional context just to like spit out some information. What are you saying about the Arrowverse? I think that would be cool. I really hope that they don't do that. I don't even want to say the first season. I'm hoping that like after the second season is when you could maybe start doing that. I would really love it if you just
like maybe season 3
really establish your own thing right now, because I like the Arrowverse a lot. I love Flash and Arrow, and I like the sprinkles of like crossing them over through episodes every once in a while, like a character here, a character there, a reference here, a reference there. But what made this so special was that none of that felt.
You're not thinking about that.
Yeah, you're not.
You don't have to think about that database while you're processing the show, and it gets to be its own thing.
The way Supergirl does it is she's from another Earth, so you can kind of do something like that if you wanted to. I don't see why they would need to call him Black Lightning, but sure, he come in handy.
Dude, Black Lightning, yo, that was super intense.
You guys
Writing was
Filipino?
amazing. Action was amazing. The dynamic between all the characters is amazing.
Yeah.
And just like the overall feel of the show is so much more mature than what we're watching through the other shows. The other shows are more lighthearted and fun, but this one is very involving. It's like
I love how it brings real life issues to
race,
Yeah.
everything. Just it's real life.
yeah.
The guy holding the camera is the hype man.
It's a good duo, though.
Yeah.
Off each other in
Yeah.
just the right way. And he also knows when to turn the mic.
He brought up a good point about how it's handled in a more mature manner than the other shows. I wouldn't say that Arrow is 100% lighthearted. From the 4 DC TV shows, I think Arrow's definitely the darkest one of them all.
Yeah, I've heard
And
you say
it's
that.
the most brooding one of them all. And it's kind of the most self-serious one, where it's like kind of cheesily dramatic. Sometimes it's like awesome dramatic, and then there are times where you're taking yourself way too seriously. What was cool about this was all the serious stuff hit. I really feel like they were one step away from being a damn good cable show. Because in some of the dialogue and violence, you're like, I know they're held back by censorship for being on the CW, because it is a gang world they're in. But I can imagine if they were on a cable channel, it probably would have been like similar dialogue, just a little bit more raw in its vulgarity or swear words or whatever.
But it still felt like a prime time show.
Yeah, absolutely. Chainsaw Reacts, we know this guy.
Hey, what's up?
Just finished watching the series premiere for Black Lightning. I really enjoyed it. I really did. The more the episode went on, the more I was really digging it. I like the fact that they really gave a lot of detail of his past, because he's been retired for 9 years from being Black Lightning, and then seeing him kind of fight with coming back, staying away, because he made a really good point in the episode I have to mention. He said, I've saved more lives as a principal at this high school than I ever did as Black Lightning, which is debatable. But I really enjoyed this episode. Can't wait for next week.
I'm so glad he brought that up, because that was a point that I totally forgot to mention in the review. One of the things that we commented on was how this whole episode was a debate episode, a philosophy episode. Should or shouldn't he? Of course he's going to, but it's like, having that question. When you think of like the Save the Cat structure for films, how it goes is like about 12 minutes into a movie, there's a catalyst moment, then a debate of whether or not they should go on this adventure. This whole episode was just like, start the catalyst. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a smart thing to do, especially nowadays. Like now in the sort of post-superhero world, or I don't know what to call it, but there's lots of context around. We're very aware, and so now that we have more superheroes than ever, it's like really important, arguably, to start your show with like, should he or should he not, or should she not,
Oh, yeah.
Why are we doing this? That's what makes it gripping.
Because the show starts off with him telling his daughter something about violence against violence just creates more violence. It doesn't actually make anything better. Is it okay to commit violence? when is it appropriate? When is it right? Because it's like you can save the world by being a principal in its own aspect. Or sometimes you could save people, though, by actually getting your hands and feet dirty and hurting some people and maybe sometimes having to kill someone, like Zod.
Honestly,
You know?
I will fight you. Well, it's also about figuring out which world you're in, because throughout the episode, you're seeing totally different places. You're at the school, you're out just in Jeff's life, like when they get pulled over, and then you're in Lala's territory and stuff. You're seeing a lot of different, again, philosophies clash with each other.
Well, that's what I really like about that line, because I'm hoping shit hits the fan in terms of his personal life, and everything just starts. That's the tension that I feel I really set up well, is a hero as a principal, a hero this, and then knowing that both can be okay. Because I don't want it to be, it's a smooth sail for him as Black Lightning from here on out. I want it to be like, there are terrible things happening because he's Black Lightning. And there's also good things. Kind of like how Daredevil does that. Like, there's good things with being Daredevil, but there's a lot of bad things that come with being Daredevil, too.
I'm glad that Chainsaw pointed that out, too, because that is a compelling argument. Like, has he saved more lives as a principal or as Black Lightning?
Debatable!
And the fact that they brought it up in both directions, when they make the argument for why it's necessary that he do the Black Lightning stuff, I'm like, well, yeah, it seems like some of these places are beyond, like...
Look, John, I know some people at CW. I'm going to spoil something for all you guys. The next episode, you find out every kid who graduated when he was principal is not part of the 100 gang.
Oh, man.
So he's harmed and helped grow a gang.
That's messed up. Oh, Jeff, how could you?
Matthew V. Haynes, from this thumbnail, it's him with two lovely black ladies. Oh. What's up, ladies?
We just finished watching Black Lightning, all three of us, man. What did you guys think about the episode?
It was so amazing. I loved it.
A lot of action in one night.
Yeah, it was so jam-packed. It was so jam-packed.
A lot of action and drama and just craziness all in one episode. So real, so fun,
relatable.
Scary, relatable, all the emotions all in one. And it has some cool, touchy moments, too, which I really like. Yeah, man, you guys go watch the episode. I think the show is worth it, and I think it's going to have a great run this season.
You know, I like what he said about there's action, drama, and it's fun and scary.
It's scary. And it is, because it's intense.
Yeah, there are times where I'm not like, oh, but like when Lala's being abusive to his kid, that's intense. When Tobias shoots Lala with the harpoon, that's intense and kind of scary, you know?
Or when they're in his office that first time and they're about to take her down to the Seahorse Motel or whatever. It shoots those things in a naturalistic enough way where you're like, this would be a horrifying situation to be in.
And there is pretty good amount of action in it. And the drama is really well handled. And there are times where we laugh, too, because it was actually funny at times. Like, it's a really well-balanced emotional show.
And it kind of effortlessly, at least to me, managed to lighten up appropriately and get serious appropriately. They have their Jack White, just like striding in, about to lay down some justice music. Yeah. But then they also have some really gripping, tense, real moments, too.
Yes.
And the action's great, too, because, like, the debate is about the action. So, like, when it gets there and when it doesn't, it's, like, meaningful, you know?
The thing when he fights is he fights violently. It's like he's repressed having to fight. So when he starts fighting, he's like, I hate you. That's where the emotional stake comes into the way he moves. Ma Patton, M.A. Patton.
Guys, this show is everything.
Ooh. Everything now.
You like her?
Was in love with it from the first minute. The acting is great.
I think John's in love.
The soundtrack was awesome, and he is such a badass. Like, I should have been asleep an hour and a half ago, but I was not going to miss this for the world. This show is going to be one that I do not miss ever. Yeah.
Well, we're right there with you.
High praise, yeah.
Because we were pretty tired.
We were pretty tired.
You know what? Would we rather shoot this tonight, or would we rather shoot this in the morning? Let's shoot it tonight.
Nope, let's shoot it tonight while we're spry-ish.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch something on the day it premieres.
It's a good late night show for sure. And John's in love with you.
We definitely see eye to eye on Black Lightning.
Jazzy J100.
Hey guys, so I just watched a series premiere of Black Lightning and it exceeded my expectations, I was really looking forward to it, like seeing all the trailers and stuff, but it really exceeded my expectations. This was really good. I love how we seen, like Black Lightning, retire, but like actually get back into it because his daughters were now like involved in the mix, and I love how he's like defending his family. Now his daughter Anais is developing powers, which is like really good. It's really gonna be nice to see. And I just like It's nice to see a black like male lead in a show.
Yeah, probably the biggest thing we should have touched on is that. I just don't notice that because it seems like so normal. I know it's not normal to see like a black-led superhero. Like that's what made Luke Cage such a big deal. That's what makes Black Panther the movie a big deal. That's what's making this a big deal for the DC world, and especially what they mean in the comic book origin in the comic book world. That is huge. I just have no like, whoa, a black guy. You know, I don't have any of that feeling in there.
Yeah, well, because it's weird. I was thinking about this back when I started watching Atlanta. I think was just the debate about there aren't a lot of black-led or predominantly black mainstream huge budget shows and stuff. And when you see it, half your brain, or for me, half my brain is aware because half of me is like, cool, see,
yeah,
it works just the same.
Yeah,
like,
that's my point. It's like it just feels
like
it just works for me. So I'm never like pulled out going, black people.
My brain gets caught between the like, this should not be extraordinary. However, it's pretty cool this is happening.
So yeah, it is cool. The show doesn't even do anything that really draws attention to itself like that. It deals with race. It does, especially with the way the police are. There's a lot of racism that takes place there. It's just the world that they're in, and I still don't know what state this takes place in. But when I think about the show in terms of that retrospect, I'm like, that actually is pretty cool because I don't know the proper words for this. I'm just gonna speak in the truthful way. It kind of has like that black flair about it, like, and the way the style is, the soul of the show, the people there in a positive way, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I love feeling that.
Well, it
that
feels
culture.
authentic.
Yeah,
it feels like a black show. I guess that's a thing you can say.
Yeah. I just never know what's the right word because I don't mean any of that. I'm like, oh, I said the wrong
it's
word.
Good to talk about this. It has its own distinct palette, you know.
Yeah.
It's got its own unique soundtrack. It feels authentic to me anyway. I mean, I'm not black, so in some ways, I guess I couldn't tell you that or not. But it feels authentic to me, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of universal stuff in there just the same, you know.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the black guys can get away with saying a lot of the cooler dialogue, too. Luke Cage has a lot of cool lines in his show. Just the way how he talks with, like, the other gangsters and stuff. There's, like, a certain style to the dialogue.
Yeah. She also pointed out that it really is, like, a strong family show as well. It's about family. You get that element distinctly between both him and his ex-wife, plus the complicating situation with his daughters, and none of that ever feels forced.
Yeah.
It all feels kind of appropriately balanced throughout the show.
I'm wondering, too, because his daughter was the one who's like, you know, I had to take a stand. I had to fight. And then he's always like, you should follow school protocol.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be fighting. What are you thinking? What are you doing? Stuff like that. So there's going to be a point where he discovers she has powers. So I don't know if the daughters know that he's Black Lightning. I can't tell. Obviously, the ex-wife knows it, but
maybe I missed something.
I think in the comics, the whole family knows. But I don't know if in the show right now, the daughters know. Either way, there's going to be a conversation to be had about, like, you shouldn't be doing this. You're my daughter. You should be in school. And she's going to be like, but you're Black Lightning, you know?
And also, you know, his decision whether or not to come back is, like, intrinsically tied to his relationship with his family. And this is also a family that is clearly evolving.
It's a very personal show. It's very personally driven. I love it.
And I can tell that there's going to be a lot more to the family dynamic as things go forward.
And one thing I want to give a credit to you is the relationship between him and his ex-wife. Like, that's a more compelling romance to root for what did we get together than a lot of the other shows. It feels like a more real thing.
Like
to
1,000%.
Do. Yeah.
Like, I get you and
he's changed his whole life around just to try to get her back, you know? But yeah, no, we love this show. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. John and I really dug it. We're going to continue doing reactions for it.
Very much enjoyed it.
But like we said, guys, this is one of our ways of featuring your Stardust reactions. If you follow us, tag us, it's one of the ways you can get featured in a Real Rejects video. And thank you to all who are featured in this video because it allowed us to springboard off a lot of thoughts that we didn't get to express in the actual reaction that we did because that was just a reaction. Now we have time to think about it. It's cool to watch this.
And it's cool to hear other people's thoughts, you know, because everybody catches something different.
All right, guys. Well, thank you. You can download the Stardust app and follow us first. Link in the description box, people. And you can subscribe to The Real Rejects. Why don't you click that notification bell to get notified every time one of our videos is up because subscribe buttons don't work. And you can check out our Patreon where we got full-length TV show reactions and music video reactions on there because those always get blocked on YouTube.